The Bear is a show that caught me off guard when I watched season 1. Based on the trailers I saw, I expected something straightforward and lighthearted, but what I got was a story containing every ingredient imaginable. Deep character studies, intense drama, well-placed and natural humor, solid chemistry with a brilliant cast, and experimental filmmaking that's rarely seen in television. It also has some of the best and most realistic dialogue I've ever heard in a show. I'm gonna keep this video as spoiler-free as I can, but I'll still be talking in some detail about seasons 1 through 3, so if you haven't seen it yet and you want to go in fresh, I highly encourage you to watch this show on Hulu. Season 1 was capped off with an intense 7th episode that was 18 minutes of pure concentrated stress, all filmed in one take, giving us everything that could possibly go wrong. Anyone who's worked in any kind of customer service in a chaotic environment will be squirming in their seat during this one. But this episode was followed by a finale that had a heartwarming and a triumphant ending. Season 1 was well paced, giving us a lot of story and just enough about the characters and their backstories to keep them interesting. It also helps that the entire cast is amazing, anchored by Jeremy Allen White, Ayo Edebiri, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach, who all give powerhouse performances. Season 2 was even better, and might be one of the best seasons of television ever made. It keeps the overarching story moving, but slows down from the chaos of Season 1, and allows us time to get to know each character better, giving us episodes that turn smaller side characters like Marcus into instant fan favorites. This season is all about growth, and nowhere is that embodied more than in the episode Forks, which might be my favorite episode of TV ever. Watching Richie's transformation is so satisfying and inspiring, and it has such a powerful message about taking pride in your work and maintaining a passion for people throughout all of the stresses that a job can bring. Of course, Season 2 doesn't go soft with the drama either. The Christmas flashback episode takes the intensity from the one-take episode in Season 1 and doubles it. We get chilling guest performances from Jamie Lee Curtis and Bob Odenkirk, and some much-needed levity from John Mulaney. There's also the finale, which should end triumphantly, but unlike in Season 1, it ends on a pretty bittersweet note. Season 2 was a masterclass on storytelling, and I was riding high on this show leading into Season 3. So, did Season 3 live up to expectations? Well, yes and no. It doesn't reach the highs of Season 2, and while it maintains its brilliant artistic style and character work, the primary narrative is pretty thin, and several plot points that were set up never really got resolved. Before I dive into my criticisms, I do want to talk about what I think worked in The Bear Season 3. Like I mentioned, a lot of the cinematography is very creative and fits the theme of the season. Season 1 cinematography was fast and chaotic, matching the tone of what was going on in the restaurant then. Now that The Bear is a fine dining establishment, the style and shots seem to reflect that well. The characters continue to be really well written and complex, and it's clear that the showrunners care deeply about every single one of them. The cast of actors and actresses are strong as ever, with Liza Colon-Zayas and Elliott especially standing out in this season. Throughout the high points and brilliant moments of Season 3, it's unfortunately the weakest one so far. Its pacing is very slow, which isn't a bad thing in itself, as long as it leads to big narrative moments like in Season 2, but Season 3 really doesn't seem to build to anything. Among the major plot points throughout this season are Carmi's mental struggles, Sid having to make a big decision about her future, and an upcoming review from the Chicago Tribune that could decide the fate of the restaurant. The problem is that none of these plot points are definitively resolved in the finale, so we have to wait for Season 4 to get clarity on what ended up actually happening. The only resolution we seem to get for Carmi's story is when he confronts his old boss, Chef Winger, in the finale, but even that wasn't as satisfying or as cathartic as I hoped it would be, given that this guy's past abuse had been built up for 3 seasons. It was a short conversation, and one that left Carmi speechless at the end. The relationships and camaraderie between the characters also aren't quite as prevalent and strong here. We hardly get any time between Carmi and Sugar, despite her having a baby this season, and nothing really progresses as far as his relationship with Claire. Same can be said for Richie. Carmi and Richie's back and forth was one of the best elements of the first 2 seasons. While I realized that they weren't on good terms going into Season 3, it was weird that the two of them barely even spoke to each other after Episode 2 this season. The humor was also a bit off. Most of the humor came natural, and it came from the characters' interactions off one another in the first couple of seasons. But in Season 3, all the humor seemed to only be designated to the facts, who I like, but they were a little too much for me this season. The John Cena cameo was also way out of left field and pretty distracting. Given some of the themes this season, I can't help but wonder if the creators were aware of some of the criticisms that they might get. While it's got a strong critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is mixed, as are many of the online reviews. Interestingly, this reflects flashes of the restaurant appearing to get mixed reviews throughout the season. Much like Carmy experimenting with a new unique menu every single day, this show seemed to experiment with different styles of filming and storytelling, knowing that it was going to be a little bit risky at times. It's still safe to say that The Bear is one of the best shows on TV right now. Season 3 hasn't changed that. I did enjoy it, but it felt like a step backward after such an incredible Season 2. I do look forward to Season 4, and I hope that it can have a little more narrative focus. What are your thoughts on The Bear Season 3? Was it as good as the first two, or did it fall a little bit short for you? Let me know in the comments, and please like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos, it really helps me out. Before I go, I wanted to share one last thing. As someone who's passionate about storytelling, I wanted to write my own. My second novel, A Warrior Betrayed, is now available in ebook and paperback format on Amazon. It's the sequel to my debut novel, A Warrior Still. If you enjoy action thrillers like the Jack Reacher series, then these might be up your alley. I'll put the links in the description. Thanks for watching, and I hope y'all have a good one.